Welcome to another episode of Mastermind Bites. Hi, my name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor speaker, and also a best-selling author. And every single day, I have the opportunity to help others unlock the potentials and guide them to succeed. Today on Mastermind Bites, I'm going to be featuring another great master of their skills. And the reason why I have this show is that over the last 10 years now, I have been able to meet some of the most amazing people, some of the masters of their skills, some of the most successful people in their industry, and to be in their presence, to listen to their stories, to learn from them, to just absorb their energy has been absolutely amazing. And I've been able to learn so much from them. And the reason why I have this show is I wanted to share back some of those stories, some of those lessons, so that we can all apply them into our daily lives or in our businesses as well. Today, I'm very, very excited to be able to feature Mr. Penn Jillette, and that's because I am an absolutely big fan of his work. He is highly, highly intellectual, very, very creative. He has a great sense of humor, and he's a magician. He's also a musician. He's an entertainer. He has a show in Vegas. He has a couple shows on TV. Actually, he has a lot of shows on TV. He also is a great entertainer. He has been he's on the Hall of Fame, and it's just that he's one of those people. He's also an author, and he has many books as well. And he's one of those people that once you get to listen to more and more of the stuff he does and watch more of the stuff he does, you realize how intellectual he actually really is. He really knows his stuff. And it's absolutely phenomenal to be able to see some of the things that he's been able to do, and some of the things he's been able to present, and some of the things that he's able to actually share with his audience, which is absolutely amazing because it's just amazing how his mind works. He combines that intellectual aspect of his mind with that creativity and also with the cleverness of how he could put things together. He's also a person who is very loyal because he's actually been in the same partnership with Teller for the last 45 years. In fact, the two of them have been working longer than probably any partnership in Hollywood or in show business. For 45 years, the two of them has worked very well together. They are actually very famous for the bullet catching trick and also the burning of the flag trick. Those are two tricks that's very famous that they do, and I highly recommend that you go watch their show in Vegas, because it's one of those shows that it's absolutely one of my favorites. And the thing is, they're also very loyal to their fans, and they're very thankful to their fans as well. In fact, they will stay behind after each and every show, and they'll talk to whoever wants to talk to them. They'll sign whatever autographs you come up with. They'll take pictures and all kind of stuff until the last person leaves, and they'll stay behind as long as it takes. Some other celebrities have gone up and asked them, well, don't you think that's sometimes too much? Don't you meet some crazy fans kind of thing? And the funny thing is, Penn would say, well, nope, they're never crazy, because as a matter of fact, that's how he met his wife. His wife was a big fan of his and stayed behind after one of their shows and waited until everybody left and started talking to him. And that's how their relationship started. So no crazy fans there. So absolutely a person who is very thankful to his fans and also very loyal to their fans as well. The two shows that they're very famous for is one is BS, which is also bullshit, and the other one is Fool Us. And both shows they have lots of great messages in those as well. Just like their show in Vegas, their shows always have some kind of underlying message that you can always learn from, because they're people who are master talker. He's a master talker, he's a master storyteller, and everything he does has a message, has something he wants to get across, and he wants to share his words and spread his message to as many people as can. And he does so by his shows, his TV shows, and also even in their tricks as well. So some of the controversial topics that he's been able to showcase in the show BS is like how legit is bottled water or the Bible or recycling. Or Area 51. So the reason why these topics are kind of controversial, because people sometimes don't want to ask those questions. He asks them and he moderates the whole show, and it's absolutely fun because sometimes they do get in trouble into some of those topics, but That's the entertainment factor of it. And I'll get more into that a little bit later as there's a story that goes behind this show, which I find absolutely fascinating. Now, there's four main things that I absolutely that I've learned from Mr. Penn Jillette. And one of them is the whole how can I attitude. How can I get my point across? How can I do what I want to do? How can I go around this barrier, or how can I go around that obstacle? Penn Jillette is a person who's able to think his way through and still find a way to overcome certain things because he has that how can I attitude. The second thing is the understanding of the law. He knows the law. If it's not just him, he has a good team of people who knows the law, and he has a very good understanding of what he can and what he cannot get away with. So even though if some of the stuff that he wants to achieve may or may not be legal, he will find a loophole. He'll find a way that's legal for him to get his point across. And I find that very, very smart. In fact, that's something all realtors, real estate investors, and also business people should do too, because they need to know the law. We all need to understand our contracts. We all have to understand what the tenancy acts are inside and out. And I'm sure he knows the inside and outs of all the legal aspects when it comes to show business and his rights and what he can and cannot say on TV and all that kind of stuff. So understanding the law is absolutely vital for anybody to be successful in business, entrepreneurship, real estate, whatever it is. The third thing is he really, really speaks his word, speaks his mind, and gets his message across. And the few stories I'm going to be sharing later will actually showcase this 100%. He's a person he's an atheist, so he's very, very firm on what he believes or does not believe in. And he really, really speaks his mind, and he gives his thoughts all the time. And he always gets his last word in. And number four is he has a great creativity and sense of humor. And you can see that in his shows, you can see that in his talks. And it's just one of those things that he puts that entertainment factor in all the stuff that he does to keep you watching, to keep you intrigued, to keep you entertained. So having a sense of humor and that creativity is absolutely vital to all our successes as well. So I'm going to showcase four stories that I've heard from him that I find absolutely amazing and very, very entertaining. And I really like these stories. These are the four stories that really stuck out to me. And all four highlights those four lessons that I kind of just brought up of what I really learned from Penn Jillette. Number one is the whole concept of ego depletion. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever had that feeling of uncertainty, or you start stuttering when you start speaking in front of camera? Well, I did. And I was so nervous talking in front of camera. I could go up on stage and sing and dance, and you could record me doing all that kind of stuff. And I know you're doing it and I'll be fine. But the moment I put a camera in front of my face and I start talking, I go blank. And I just couldn't understand why. Until one day I was reading one of Penn's books, and I got to this one chapter, and I'm like, this is exactly my problem. And he actually explained the whole process as to why people have that feeling of stuttering or nervousness when they're right in front of a camera. And within that chapter, he was talking about his experience on Celebrity Apprentice. And that's the reality show where a whole bunch of celebrities are in there doing business projects and raising money for charity and all that kind of stuff. There's projects that they have to accomplish and complete and all that kind of stuff. But why is it so entertaining? Because you get to see some celebrities go nuts and see some celebrities completely break down and yell at each other and all that kind of stuff. And the question is, how come that actually happens? Like in a day-to-day thing, people don't lose control of their abilities to think. They don't lose control of them, of their talking and all that kind of stuff. So how come when we're watching reality shows, this happens all the time? Well, that's because of the ego depletion effect. And that's when you have cameras on you and you know you have cameras on you, you have this tendency to feel that you have to be perfect. And the more cameras there are, and in reality shows, there's a lot of cameras on you, like 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day, and they're just waiting for that moment for you to break down. And when your ego gets to a point where you can't be perfect the whole time and it gets exhausted, it's depleted, then you start to lose control. You start to break down, you start to yell, you start to overreact. And that's what happens in these reality shows. So what was very fascinating was the fact that he knew about all this. He knew how that worked, but he also knew the law. And the thing is, every time he wanted some time on his own, every time he wanted to think on his own and be left alone by all the cameras, what did he do? He starts singing the Beatles or humming the Beatles. And he knew that the network had no rights and no abilities to show any of those songs or play any of that music. So every time he hummed it or sang it, the cameras had to go away. So I thought that was actually very, very smart, which showcases one, his ability to how can I get what I want, and two, understanding the law. The second story I wanted to share was a story that has to do with one of the episodes in BS. And this was an episode talking about a chiropractor who was adamant that doing chiropractic procedures on infants was actually healthy. And the thing is, infants actually don't have the development in their bones yet where they should be going through all this chiropractic procedure. So Penn, who talked to other experts and other chiropractors who agreed that this is not a good procedure, but this specific guy kept on saying, no, we have to do this chiropractic procedure on these infants. It's good for them, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. Well, Penn Jillette had his thoughts. He wanted to swear, he wanted to give this big monologue on how stupid, how crazy, how all these things about this chiropractor. But he knew he can't call him crazy, because if he called him crazy on air, then he would probably get sued. And because the word crazy is suable in the law. So what did they do? As he was out there talking about all this stuff about how he didn't like this chiropractor, he could swear, he could do all this stuff just to voice his opinion, to voice his emotions, but he didn't use the word crazy. What in fact he did do is, in the background of where he was standing, as he was giving this big monologue, he had a whole bunch of ducks, and all these ducks were just quacking away, kind of having that underlying message saying, this doctor is a quack. And I thought that was absolutely very, very smart. Again, showcasing number one, how can I do what I want to do? Number two, knowing the law. And number three, he speaks his mind and he wants to get his message across. And actually, number four, he has that sense of humor, which was very, very interesting as well. Number three, the third story I wanted to share about Penn Jillette is the naming of BS. Now, because of the concept of the show was surrounding all these topics that could be controversial, that could bring up a lot of people who may want to sue them, who may want to come back and like give them a lots of problems and lots of feedback and lots of controversies and all that kind of stuff. And they don't want to have to go and deal with all those lawsuits. They don't want to go and deal with all those conflicts and whatnot. So the thing is, if they call the show conspiracy theory or conspiracies or crazy theories and all these other words, then for sure they will in fact get all these letters that will sue them because of all these different topics that could offend a lot of different people. The reason why they picked the word BS is because BS is not suable. So they knew they could use the name BS throughout the entire show, and they keep on calling everything BS and they won't get sued. Secondly, it's almost as if they're calling their own show BS. So they're making fun of their own show. So the thing is, because of all those little things and all those little details, it's not suable. So again, it showcases all four things again. How can they do what they wanted to do, knowing the law, having that sense of humor, that creativity, and also speaking their mind. And number four is one of my favorites, and it's one of those things I thought that was very, very genius and really showcases his ability to get his last word in, and that is the show Fool Us. Now, the whole concept of the show Fool Us is to invite different magicians all over the world to come and perform a trick, either original or not original or whatever it is. But the whole thought process behind the show is for these magicians to trick Penn and Teller. All Penn and Teller would do is sit there, watch the trick, And then at the end, they'll say, this is how you do it. And they'll kind of communicate it through code just so that the magician would go, okay, yeah, you know how I did it. I did not fool you. But the whole concept of the show is for the newbie magicians to come and fool Penn and Teller. And if they're able to fool Penn and Teller and do a trick that they do not know, that they cannot figure out how they did it, then they could actually come and headline and open for Penn and Teller on their show and also get this wonderful Fool Us trophy. Now, that's all nice and dandy. And the thing is, everybody wants to win that prestigious trophy, that Fool Us trophy, and be able to say, I have fooled Penn and Teller. Now, Penn and Teller, of course, they're competitive people. They don't want to be fooled. So they're not going to be that easily, they're not going to be that easily fooled. Two, and they're not also going to be that easily made fun of or admit that they're going to lose to somebody else. Hence, that Fool Us trophy, when it comes down, and I highly recommend you guys watch the show. When that trophy comes down, it shows Fool Us on the trophy, but it's a big capital FOOLUS. So all you really see is FU. And I thought, clever. Very, very clever. So I thought that was kind of funny too. They got their last word in. Again, they speak their last word and they know the rules and they were able to find a way to do what they wanted to do on national TV too. So I thought those 4 stories were very, very interesting and really showcases those 4 lessons that I've learned from Penn Jillette. So I hope that you enjoyed this segment about Penn Jillette. Oh, actually, I'm going to add one more story, and that story is to showcase how creative Penn Jillette is, and that is on one of the episodes on Celebrity Apprentice, he had a project to create a new ice cream flavor and also to design the canister and also the packaging of that ice cream. And to showcase how creative he is, normal people and most people would just come up, okay, you have the cover and you have the ice cream flavor and all that kind of stuff, and you go through and do the project. Well, he did that, and then what happened was at the very last moment, he goes, oh yeah, let's add one more thing. And the last thing he added was at the bottom of the cup, okay, after you finish eating all the ice cream, it says, poof, it's gone. And I thought that was, wow, very, very creative. And once I saw that, I'm like, I have to get some of this ice cream. I don't care what flavor it is. I really want to get this ice cream because I just want to see that last message at the bottom there that says, poof, it's gone. Unfortunately, I'm in Canada and I wasn't able to pick that up when it was available in the US. But anyways, again, that's another story that showcases his creativity, his sense of humor. And again, so many lessons that you can learn from Penn Jillette and so many stories you can hear. I highly recommend that you pick up some of his books and also watch his shows because you get to learn so much, but not only learn a lot, but also get a lot of entertainment value out of it as well. So I hope you got a lot of value from this episode. You learned a lot from this episode. If you like this one, please follow some of my other shows like the Peak Potential Success Show and also Unlocking the Mind Behind Make More Work Less, or see some of the other episodes of Master Mind Bites. Again, please like, share, subscribe, comment, give me feedback. I always love seeing those. So thank you very much for this. And until next time, today is the day to unlock your potential. We'll see you later.